Yo, what is up guys, it's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be talking about why I believe that Ron Rivera made some massive mistakes this offseason when constructing this roster. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button and that notification bell as well so you never miss a video. Okay, so the Washington Commanders are currently sitting at 2-2 on the season. They're not in a bad spot. They're going to be playing the Chicago Bears on Thursday Night Football. And, there's not a lot of gimme wins in the National Football League, and I'm not going to say this is a gimme game, but it's almost a must win. You got to win that game, and then after that, I believe you play the Falcons, and then the Giants, and then I think the Patriots and Eagles. So, you have some games that are not super easy, but you have a lot of winnable games on your schedule, and I think they can be in a good spot to be potentially 5-3 or around that area. In a few games. It's, still early, but we'll see what goes on, what happens. But I just want to talk a little bit about a mistake I think Ron Rivera made this offseason, when he's addressed the offensive line position and the linebacker position. So, those were two of the biggest needs besides quarterback, which we kind of realized it was going to be Sam Howell. We maybe could have gone somewhere in the draft or signed a veteran, but we pretty much knew from the jump it was going to be Sam Howell as a starter, and then we brought in Jacoby Brissett. But that's kind of, we knew Sam Howell was going to be that guy to be the starter and, go from there. But O-line, offensive line, and linebacker were two of the biggest needs. They've been needs for a while. Rivera got here. Offensive line wasn't a big issue, but it, progressively has gotten worse over time. And linebacker has been a need every single year, and he's the only thing he's done to address is Jamin Davis. Besides that, hasn't really drafted or signed anyone. He drafted Khaleke Hudson his first year here, but hasn't recently the last two drafts hasn't drafted a single linebacker. Andre Jones was technically listed as a linebacker, but he's playing DN for us. And then O-line, I feel like they haven't made significant investments in those spots. And this offseason, the two acquisitions they made at those spots were Andrew Wiley and Cody Barton. Those two players have been two of the worst players on the team this year. Andrew Wiley, every single game, including the preseason, he's been bad. He's been getting beat. He's been has been allowing sacks. It just has not been good for Andrew Wiley against the Eagles. He allowed 7 pressures, 5 hurries, a QB hit, and a sack. Just not a good game. He also had a penalty, I think 2 penalties in that game. He did not have a good game, and he's been part of the reason why Sam Howell is has been getting pressured a ton. And if we had a good, right tackle there, I think Sam Howell's season it's been solid, but I think it would be much better if we had even okay play there. And maybe we'll go ahead and sign someone. I doubt it, but maybe bench him for Cornelius Lucas. But you signed him, I believe, to a 3-year deal. You're paying him around $9 million a season. And I think there was other ways you could have addressed the offensive line this season. One, you could have, signed someone like Isaac Seumalo. Sorry for the stutter there. He was played on the Eagles, was a Pro Bowler last year, and signed for about what Wiley got. I think it was $8 or $9 million with the Steelers. And you could have had him at guard, and then at right guard, and then Sam Cosmi at right tackle. They signed Wiley, and I'm not going to put all this on Rivera because I do believe that is more of an Eric Bieniemy signing. But Andrew Wiley was not good last year. He was good in the Super Bowl, but besides that, he gave up a lot of sacks last year. I believe it was around 9, and that is a lot. He also had some penalties, and he was better at guard than he was at tackle, and that's why when we signed him, I wasn't happy, but I wasn't upset. Because I was like, okay, maybe they can play him at guard. But then when I realized he was going to play at tackle, I was feeling a little bit worse about the situation. So, I don't know. There was other guys. There weren't many elite tackles. So that's why I was fine with, I would have been fine if they had Cosmi at right tackle and then had Wiley at guard or signed another guard like Seumalo and, there was some others. Or you kept Cosmi or you put Cosmi at right guard and drafted a tackle in the first round and develop him, and you might have some growing pains early on, but eventually, hopefully, you have your right tackle in the future. And they've had growing pains anyways with Andrew Wiley. It's been a mess so far. There was no obvious choice for them, but I just feel like what they didn't really help. Nick Gates has been okay. I really like the guy. He always sticking up for Sam Howell. He's been okay. He hasn't been amazing. I think they overpaid him a little bit, but he has not been a huge problem for us, but I feel like Andrew Wiley, on the other hand, has been. And real quick, a word from our sponsor. And a huge shout out to Aura for sponsoring today's video. Are you tired of constantly receiving spam phone calls to the point where you don't even answer your phone anymore? Just yesterday, I received multiple spam phone calls, as you guys can see right there, and it just gets really annoying. Data brokers are making a fortune selling your information to robocallers, spammers, and others who want to learn more about you, like where you live and other really important information. Aura can identify data brokers exposing your info and submit opt-out requests on your behalf. Brokers are legally required to remove your info if you ask them to, but they make it super hard to do. Let Aura handle it for you. Aura also does so much more to protect you and your family from online threats you can't see. It's really easy to set up, so you don't have to download several different apps to get things like parental controls, antivirus, VPN, password management, identity theft insurance, and much more. You get everything at one affordable price. Aura also has a VPN that can change your location, and Aura also can be used as a tool to get your credit score. Let Aura do the hard work of keeping you safe online so you can focus on other tasks with peace of mind. You can either let people continue to exploit and profit off your private information, or you can go to the link in the description to start your 2-week free trial. Thank you. Okay, so we're back, and yeah, just overall, Andrew Wiley has been very disappointing. There were different options that they could have, made last year, different decisions they could have taken to put this offensive line in a better spot, and they did get unlucky a little bit in the draft. All the offensive linemen that, all the top guys basically were drafted before they could get them. Maybe you could argue that they could have traded up, but it is what it is. They drafted Emmanuel Forbes, and a lot of the tackles, like again Darnell Wright, Broderick Jones, Skarnowski, all those guys were taken before the Commanders were picking, which is unfortunate, but that's how it works. So they're stuck with this offensive line for now. They can bench Andrew Wiley and put in Cornelius Lucas, but still going to be on the books for Wiley for the next couple years. So that is not a good scenario, situation. But hey, if he continues to be bad this year, you have two options. You cut him or you move him to guard. There's no option of, if he has a whole season at right tackle and it's like, these first 4 weeks, there's no scenario where I would be okay heading into the 2024 season with him as your starting right tackle. The next guy, Cody Barton. So the linebacking core last year was not good. Jamin Davis was better than his rookie year. He was still not great. He was okay. And then Cole Holcomb was okay, a little bit disappointing from him, because the year before was better, but he was okay, and then he got hurt, and yeah, the depth wasn't great. But they decide to move on from, Cole Holcomb. They move on from him, and they sign Cody Barton, who so far has been pretty disappointing. His PFF grade, is a 40 overall, and what I said yesterday in my video, which I did stock up, stock down, if you want to check that out, I use PFF kind of as, okay, does it match the eye test? Because if it matches the eye test, then I feel like that's a good indication of, okay, the grade was good. But if it's like way off of what you saw or what other people are saying, and even the film that you watched, I don't watch a ton, but I try to watch, certain players a little bit, because it's hard to watch every single player individually, for, all the games. Some people can do it. Some people have the time to do it. I can't do it, but I try to watch a few players every week. And, even just watching the TV copy, you can tell Cody Barton hasn't been great. His tackling isn't good. His coverage is really bad. That's the biggest thing with him. And I guess you can give him a little bit of time because, or a little bit of a pass, because he is learning a new defense. And, sometimes it takes a little bit of time. But I'll give him another couple weeks. But after that, if he's not getting better, you need to start looking at some other options. There's good linebackers, some still good linebackers available in free agency. You got Khaleke Hudson there. Maybe you can play him a little bit. Maybe you can slowly integrate Jabril Cox into the, lineup. Like maybe promote him for a couple games, have him play some special teams, maybe give him some snaps, and then from there see if he's ready to play. I doubt it, but that's another scenario there. But yeah, Cody Barton has not been good this year. And Jamin Davis has been solid. Like, he hasn't been amazing, but he took a little bit of a step from, year or he took a big step from year 1 to year 2. I mean, it was hard not to because he played terrible in year 1. And then I think he's taken another small step from year 2 to year 3. Not a huge step, but like, again, the better you get, the harder it is to take those extra steps. So, he's turning into a solid linebacker. Still want to see more. Like, I still need to see him be better if we want to, like, justify him being our first round pick over some of the guys we took him over. But I'm feeling better about Jamin Davis. But Cody Barton, he needs to play better. And they could have signed Cole Holcomb. I wouldn't have minded that. There was so many linebackers that they could have gotten. Like, I'm not even going to name the names because there were so many. There was probably 10, 15 plus guys that Commanders fans wanted over Cody Barton. They got him for cheap. It's a prove-it deal. So far, he hasn't proved anything. But we still got 13 games in this season. So he still has time to prove if he, can get a bigger contract. But it's not looking good so far. And yeah, that's kind of the mistakes, the mistake I was talking about with Rivera. Just, it's been 4 years and this linebacking core still hasn't been great. And he's made that same mistake every year where he doesn't really go after someone, and you can get someone for really cheap. Like Quan Alexander has been picked up the last couple of years, has been contributor for both the teams he's played on for very, very cheap. And I mean, this video I didn't even talk about the draft mistake, where I'm not saying Emmanuel Forbes or Quan Martin were mistakes, but I think drafting a corner in the first and the second round was a mistake. Like, I would have been fine them drafting Forbes and then Osiris Torrance, or Forbes and another offensive lineman or another position, but Forbes and Quan Martin, who's supposed to be slot corner for you, like, despite how little Quan Martin's played, like, that doesn't even, I mean, that factors into it, but like, even besides that, like, even if he's playing okay, like, I still would have liked to draft a offensive lineman there, or vice versa, first round and second round. But the way the first round went, it was better to go. It was better to go corner there. And I know people are going to be like, hindsight's 2020, or there's a reason you're making YouTube videos and not the GM. All the stuff I said right now is basically what I said at the time of these moves. At the draft, I was talking about this. So it's not just hindsight. Like, this is almost all of what I said today is what I was saying before. So that's it for today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure you guys check out Aura. Peace.